The shared fantasy begins with a series of tests. So let's look at how subtle abuse replaces intimacy. The whisper that replaced the gaze. At first, the silence was small, just a missed reply, a change in tone, a longer pause between messages. You rationalized it, told yourself they were tired, busy, or stressed. But when the silences grew, they weren't accidental anymore. They were precise. They'd withdraw right after you opened up. They'd make a joke when you shared something tender. It changed the subject when you said, I love you. And that's when it began, the testing. This is part of the narcissistic bond that no one warns you about. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And those whispers change everything. You start walking on eggshells. You try to be perfect just a little longer, just until it goes back to how it was. But it never does, because this phase isn't accidental. It's structural. It's the silent test. It's the moment intimacy is replaced with control. Sam Vaknin explained that narcissists begin with intense idealization, but it is never sustainable. They can't hold intimacy. It threatens them. So what do? They test you, not with rage, not with chaos, but with withdrawal. They test how much silence you'll tolerate, how quickly you'll blame yourself, how deeply you'll bend to get them back. Vaknin calls these micro abandonments, interrupting you when you speak, dismissing your emotions with logic, flinching at affection, forgetting details that matter deliberately. These are not random, they are affective calibrations, emotional probes. They measure your pain tolerance, your loyalty under uncertainty, your willingness to self regulate in their absence. And you do. You tone yourself down. You stop asking for reassurance. You try to become the perfect partner again, and it works for a little while. But these tests never stop, they just escalate until what once felt like intimacy becomes a behavioral audition. In input, this marks the beginning of symbolic fracture. The narcissist gaze, which once idealized you, is now gone. Not entirely, just enough. This is not absence, it's a tactic, the libidinal push. The survivor doesn't feel threatened, they feel summoned into pursuit. You feel the ache to prove yourself again. It's a coercive silence, one that asks, will you perform to win me back? And so you do. You try harder. You apologize for things you didn't do. You suppress your needs to re earn affection. This is where the false self protector fully activates. She becomes softer, quieter, more pleasing. He becomes less visible, more adaptable, more agreeable. And the real self, the truth self, begins to fade. This is how mirrored psychic inversion begins. You are no longer responding to a person. You are responding to a withheld gaze. And in that pursuit, you became inverted, conditioned through absence. This stage of abuse isn't loud, it's invisible. It doesn't hurt like betrayal, it hurts like doubt. You start analyzing everything, your tone, your timing, your presence, your words, and you wonder, did I do something wrong? Was I too emotional? Did I come on too strong? But they never answer. They just stay slightly out of reach. And that ambiguity creates what Pitt calls the symbolic loop. It's not rumination, it's self erasure through internalized blame. The narcissist doesn't need to say, you failed. You say it yourself. You become the judge and the accused, the parent and the punished child, the abuser and the survivor. You regulate yourself for them, and when you get it right, they return a smile, a message, a compliment, and you feel relief. Not connection, relief. Because they give you the signal. You passed the test for now. Let's interrupt the loop, not with logic, but with embodied truth. This is the affective audit. Ask yourself these 5 questions slowly, honestly. When I speak, do I feel heard or managed? When I express need, do I feel met or avoided? When I express affection, do I feel warmth or tension? When I express hurt, do I feel closer or more punished? And when I'm alone, do I feel safer or abandoned? If you find yourself explaining away discomfort, that's your false self protector. If you feel grief rise, that's your truth self waking up. Let it speak, let it feel, and let it show you what your thinking mind has been trained to ignore. Let me tell you what this was. The silent test is not a test of your love, it is a measure of their control. You're not needy for noticing the silence. You're not fragile for craving consistency. You're not dramatic for wanting affection. You're human. You are real. You are waking up. And what they cannot tolerate is your return to yourself because your presence demands honesty, and honesty breaks illusions. So here is your anchor. I am no longer available for calibration. Your silence is not my future. My discomfort is my compass. Say it, write it, live it, because you are not here to perform. You are here to exist fully, and you are no longer up for testing. Peace out. Loads of love.